The long-awaited island that most One Piece fans have ever anticipated is finally concluded. After many RL years of going through this arc, it was one hell of a ride. But what makes this island arc more interesting compared to the others? Before we officially begin this video, I'd like to make a disclaimer that this video will have spoilers. So if you're not a One Piece fan or haven't seen / caught up with the series, you should save this video until later. Now, with that being out of the way, let us set sail to one of the longest story arcs of all time, Wano Kuni. The story of Wano expands further back from Punk Hazard, meeting the primary character for the upcoming arc of Wano, Momonosuke, and slowly introduces his retainers as the story progresses. This minor lore builds up its way to make it connect with the primary storyline, which provides us with more information about the lore of One Piece. Initially, even though we had an idea that Wano was in a disastrous crisis, I didn't think it would have been that bad. But given that many countries have suffered due to corruption or being overthrown by pirates, I should have known better. The country of Wano was struggling as the country was under a new shogun, Kurozomi Orochi, who fits in a similar radar with the Celestial Dragons. And by this statement, you'll definitely dislike him. Wano was being used as a place to produce weapons for Kaido and the Beast Pirates, and a way to enhance Kaido's army. Wano was also being abused in terms of financially and environmentally, where the majority of the civilians of Wano couldn't even afford food or a proper shelter, and the environment became poisonous to where clean water was nearly non-existent and undrinkable. This negative outcome benefited both primary villains of this arc, as Orochi replaced Oden as shogun as a way of getting revenge due to the differences in family status, and Kaido made Wano a place for slaves to manufacture his weapon products. As unfortunate as it sounds, it's only the beginning. Since Kaido wanted to enhance the Beast Pirates, he was able to get his hands on Smile Fruits, which was created by Vegapunk and also mentioned way back in Punk Hazard. However, these Smile Fruits were hardly guaranteed to grant you a zone type ability, so eating them was a big gamble. Most of the Smile Fruits that were considered failures were given to one of the towns of Wano, Ibisu Town, which was already struggling with poverty and was reaching starvation. The responsibility of the shogun is to provide for their people. Orochi gave the Smile Fruits to the people of Ibisu Town. Now, you might think that this was good on Orochi for helping the starving citizens, and what's so wrong with giving people a chance of having a zone ability? Orochi is doing them a favor. Wrong. Indeed, these people were beyond starving, but they didn't know any better about what these fruits were. Smile Fruits were produced from outside of Wano, so of course, they wouldn't know what Smile Fruits are. Though in general, Smile Fruits aren't technically well known as they were science experiments anyway. Remember how I said there was a small chance of obtaining a zone ability from the Smile Fruits? Well, if you didn't achieve a zone ability, you will be left with permanent side effects. The side effects include the inability to swim and feeling sadness or anger. Therefore, even if you try to feel those type of emotions in that negative range, all you can do is laugh without a choice. The poor village ate the Smile Fruits due to the lack of meals and was forced to eat them to survive. The tragedy is that they can only laugh even when times get depressing. The only emotion they now have is nothing but laughter. This shows how messed up both Orochi and Kaido are, since they do not care. You can see how badly Wano is struggling, and the people within can't do anything about it because they simply are outpowered by Kaido's forces. And so this is the main plot for Wano, where the ninja, pirate, mink, samurai alliance takes the lead of the story while fulfilling their initial purpose, to overthrow both Orochi and Kaido. Knowing the context from Oden's backstory helps us understand why these events occur, and it gives us a lot of information from old generation pirates such as the iconic Whitebeard pirates and the famous Roger pirates. Learning that Oden was affiliated with both pirate crews is such a legend, and the fact that he can read the poneglyphs is an absolute flex, and even part of their travels was connected to the message back from Skypiea. The lore just keeps expanding and cycling. You're gonna see me tweak out about One Piece, so you might have to get used to it. As I was saying, Oden has provided so much connection from the past and continues to ascend to the future. Regardless of the historic moment with Oden, he left a special gift for us. Enma. Okay, not really given directly from Oden, but it was originally passed down to Oden's daughter, Hiyori, who offers a trade with one of Zoro's swords, Shusui. Shusui is an iconic sword that was originally held by a legendary samurai of Wano, Ryuma. Because Shusui is a signature icon of Wano, Hiyori demands that Shusui remain here in Wano, and in return, he offers Zoro one of Oden's swords. To be honest, it sucks to leave Shusui as it's been with Zoro since Thriller Bark, and it was a cool looking sword too. Enma is also cool, but definitely causes a challenge for Zoro. The one thing that the plot of Wano provided was giving us more moments with Ace, and as you know, Ace is my favorite character. Though I didn't think we see more of him, it was good to see that he contributed in some type of way, whether it was to influence people like Yamato and Otama. His connections with both of them eventually tie in with Luffy, and I like how that type of connection brings the bond to good terms between these characters. Well, maybe not for Otama. The one moment that did piss me off, and I know she didn't know any better and she's just a kid, but it was infuriating to see Otama slander Luffy after finding out about Ace's death. I'm sorry, but I personally wouldn't take that kind of disrespect, and luckily Luffy has that type of restraint when it comes to those type of situations and can keep his composures at the right time. If that was me, man, I would have lost it. We've seen what Luffy faced. I mean, after all, he experienced his death in front of him. 4K! Otama acting like she knows Ace more than Luffy, and that's what gets me. I mean, I don't blame her entirely, to be honest. She didn't know that Luffy was Ace's brother, and when she did find out, she felt bad afterwards, so I guess she learned her lesson. As the plot progressed, it had many iconic moments that got me hyped up and got me tweaking. At this point, this is where I finally caught up to the anime, and the moment I was up to date, I was hit with one of the biggest plot twists in One Piece. I couldn't believe it. Just like everyone else, this got me by surprise, but it makes sense. He fits the description of the usual suspects.
What do you mean by that?
The surprise of his betrayal totally changed my perception of Kyojuro, as we had the impression that he was one of us, the good guys, and just like that, we were deceived. With this deception, it seemed that Kyojuro had the upper hand, ruining the Kozuki clan's plans, and so we thought. This was such an epic scene that for sure gave me goosebumps. The infamous Worst Generation trio has finally assembled. I mean, we haven't seen these guys together since pre-time skip. It was pretty cool for the first time, but this time was definitely cooler. But if you think that moments like that are over, it's just getting started. Even right after the Worst Gen trio epically appears, Jinbei returns. The very anticipated moment that we were all waiting for. Jinbei is official with us. I ain't gonna lie, I thought Jinbei would keep stalling about joining the crew to the point where he might not even join at all, but thankfully he did. It took ages for him to join the Straw Hats officially, but we finally made it to that point. Act 3 was carrying this arc heavily, and they were cooking up some heat. You know the show is good when you start to express strong emotions toward the story. It got me feeling so hyped up for everyone, gave me chills when shit was about to go down, and even got me emotional only because of the nostalgic feeling of remembering these moments from a long time ago. By the way, yes, I cried in some of these moments, but I just can't help it, okay? I'll probably keep repeating this part for most of of my One Piece videos, but it does feel like we as an audience are on this adventure along with them. Moments like those are the reason why modern One Piece has become so popular. The quality of animation vastly improves, and the progression of the storyline that One Piece fans dedicate themselves to has brought nothing but hype and excitement together. With the art giving us those type of moments, there were also some surprising ones. This indeed caught me by surprise, but not as much compared to the events that happened at the near end of the arc. So this is the part where I started reading the One Piece manga because I got impatient and I kept getting spoiled on the internet. And due to my temptations, I caught up with the Wano arc. But of course, this is an anime review, so I recently went back to where I left off and binge watched the rest of the Wano story. The moment I left off, I had about 55 episodes to catch up on, but because of how poorly One Piece's pacing was, it was all easy peasy to finish within a week. Even though I remember certain moments from the manga, it still felt like I was experiencing these moments whole again, and it's refreshing. So refreshing to where I was excited the moment Gear 5th was shown. This is the peak of One Piece lore. It left more theories to the lore, and I'm all for it. Like, how could I not be excited? The final moment when Luffy was defeated was the pivotal moment that got me in my feels, because all the pain, suffering, and countless defeats would even be more drastic if it was all for nothing, leaving the entire Wano Alliance in complete despair. However, the awakening of the Gum Gum fruit, now known as the human fruit, Madonika, has changed that fate. The music and the unique power of Luffy makes me feel pumped up. It seems to be so powerful that even the world government is trying to take Luffy down immediately. From many sources in the One Piece lore, it's made to believe that Luffy is Joy Boy, a legend who was referenced a few times before, but now the name of Joy Boy starts to appear frequently in this segment of the arc. Kaido claims that nobody can defeat him except for Joy Boy. Since Kaido was the strongest creature in the world, it almost seemed impossible. And well, after many tedious beatings and ass whoopings, he was defeated by Luffy, or in some eyes of others, Joy Boy. Though I was glad that the back and forth fighting was over, it did get me excited about the results. Like, the worst Gen trio defeated both Emperors of the Seas, Kaido and Big Mom. This is a historic moment in the series. I mean, for sure, their bounties and status must have increased after the battle. They all must be Emperor's level now, right? Huh? Buggy? Congrats to Luffy, but I was not expecting Buggy to be the next Emperor. And what's even more shocking is that he got Crocodile and Mihawk to work for him. This is insane. The idea that Buggy and his crew decide to put bounties on the Marines just reverses the roles. And surprisingly, the concept for Cross Guild is genius. The combination of having former warlords work for him and placing bounties on the Marines makes sense as to why he was given the title of Emperor. Though it was unfortunate that neither Law nor Kid got the Emperor status, I guess it is what it is.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
Honestly, One Piece is one of the few shows that makes me feel deeply invested to the point where I'm more expressive. And speaking about expressing, this segment of the video is where I'm gonna rant about this arc. Though there were good moments in this arc, there were also iffy ones. This is all based on my experience, so not everyone might feel the same way as I do, but feel free to comment down below your Wano experience. Starting with Sanji, now the moment I am mentioning might be kind of controversial, but during his battle with Black Maria, Sanji refuses to attack her simply because she is a woman. To substitute his spot, Robin saves him and she ends up fighting Black Maria. Now, I get that Sanji would never hit a female, but it does give me an iffy feeling since in a situation like that, he would probably get himself killed. And in the world of pirates, all hands are rated E for everyone. Or maybe legs, you know, cause he kicks. I mean, I'm not saying the choice he made was wrong, but I don't know. A situation like that can cost him his life, and that's all I'm saying. One of the few things I was looking forward to was more background information on the legend Ryuma, who I mentioned earlier in this video. The only times that were mentioned were when Hiyori traded the swords and Zoro got used to Enma, but that's pretty much it. I was interested in learning more about Ryuma since we're in Wano. I thought we would get more out of him, but clearly the plot focused mainly on the Kozuki clan. Adding to my pile of rants, I was surprised that Yamato didn't end up joining the Straw Hats since she initially wanted to join, and at the last minute, she changed her mind. This part isn't so bad since Jinbei was technically freshly recruited, so it would have been too soon for Yamato to join the Straw Hats. Hopefully, at this point, I do hope that Vivi and Yamato join the Straw Hats as they would make great members, but I believe that the main Straw Hat crew is maxed out. But then again, anything can happen, so all we can do is wait and see. But clearly, someone couldn't do that. Yes, I'm talking about you, Green Bull. Green Bull was such a menace but a dick at the same time, and I will admit he is powerful, which is what makes him cool. But at the same time, he's impatient and arrogant about the way he rushed his way to Wano and how he handled his fight against the samurais. We finally get to see the final admiral among the new trio, but yet, of course, in my opinion, he's unlikable. The only satisfying thing I got out of Green Bull was when Shanks interfered and humbled him with his haki, and I'm glad that scared Green Bull off cause he's similar to Akainu in a way, and I don't like both of them. The generality of the current anime does have one big issue, and clearly it's the pacing. Regarding the fact that this series has over 1,000 episodes, I started to notice how dragged out each episode became and how they over-exaggerate certain scenes for them to stretch out the episode. And while I was catching up, I watched 1.25 speed on most of the episodes because I didn't want to be numbed out by the slow pacing. Surprisingly yet, sometimes 1.25 still feels slow, and that's saying a lot. But just because the anime itself has been poorly paced, it doesn't take away the enjoyment of how the quality animations are presented. Toei Animations went hardcore with the fights and a bunch of impact frames that eventually became creative, and honestly, the animation quality was peak compared to the other shonen series. I'm glad the animations have improved over time, and I hope that Toei Animations maintain this quality. One of my favorite parts about this arc is how every character had roles to play, and I love it. It makes them important in some sense, whether they contribute to the plot or even give us information about the in-story universe. The Wano saga has finally concluded, building up back from Punk Hazard, and the story of the Kozuki clan has finally ended. It was emotional to finally depart ways away from Kiyomon and Momonosuke, but I'm also excited to see more adventures that only focus on the Straw Hats because it's been a while since we've seen an arc that only focused on the Straw Hat crew. I'm excited to see what comes next and what the outside world has become, but I'll save that for another video. For now, that pretty much concludes this One Piece review. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys leave a like down below, and if you want to see more anime content from me, click on the subscribe button to see more on my channel. It's starting to get more interesting from here as I will post more videos, but for now, that is everything I have today. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in our next destination. Peace.